I'm Luis Scott, managing partner of Bader Scott Injury Lawyers, one of the fastest growing law firms in the country, and I'm also the co-founder of 8-Figure Firm Consulting. I've successfully built multiple companies by focusing on leadership, operations, and culture. Using these principles, my companies have generated close to $100 million in revenue. But before any of this success, I started my legal career as a receptionist, and I worked my way up to becoming managing partner. In each episode of this podcast, I sit down with leaders and entrepreneurs who have had the guts to step out on their own and the courage to face adversity. They share with us their tips for achievement, the challenges they have faced, and the glory of success. I welcome you to the Guts and Glory Show.
Chad Franzen here, one of the hosts of the Guts and Glory Show. We feature top leaders who share challenges in leadership, the guts it takes to succeed, and the glory of success. This episode is brought to you by 8-Figure Firm Consulting. At 8-Figure Firm, they help law firms grow to 8 figures. Luis Scott was telling me when he started his career, he was working over 80 hours a week to make partner. After that, he finally started his own firm and wished he had someone walking him through all the steps to growth. At 8-Figure Firm, they show you how to develop a business that works for you instead of you working for it. Go to 8figurefirm.com to learn more. That's 8 the number, figurefirm.com. Today we have Keren Barrios, managing partner and attorney at I&I Law, specializing in immigration and injury. She founded the firm with her husband, Jorge Virgüez, in 2014, and they have averaged 100% growth each year ever since. They have 2 offices in Georgia, which include 4 attorneys and 22 employees. Keren, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me, Chad.
Great. Thank you. Hey, so tell me a little bit more about I&I Law and what you guys do and the types of clients that you serve.
Of course. So like you said, we founded it with my husband. So we do work together and we're happily doing so. We serve our immigration, community. So a lot of our Latino people that come here and want to make the United States their home. So we serve those. And we also are growing rapidly in the injury side of things. So we help people after a car accident. Unfortunately, we do get involved in wrongful deaths and it's very sad to do so, but we are happy to help them through the process. So, that's kind of who we are serving currently. And yeah, we're excited to do so.
At what point in your life did you know that you wanted to become a lawyer?
Very early on, Chad. So I was around 11 years old, and I do have a unique story. So I'm from Guatemala, and I was kidnapped at the age of 10 years old for 13 days. I was rescued by the cops, so it's like a movie. And they were able to apprehend some of the people involved in my kidnapping. So at the age of 11, a year later, after being rescued, I had to go to trial. And I had to, in our countries, they don't treat you like children, they treat you like adults. So I had to take the stand. I had to do the whole thing. And the prosecutor made such a huge impact in my life. Like he changed the way I viewed life and how he took care of my case and gave me a voice that to me that is the day I decided to become a lawyer.
Wow, that is a very unique story. What was it about the prosecutor? I mean, obviously that you can remember as a 10-year-old that made such an impact on you.
I think the power he had to fight for my rights, like him being my voice and really fighting for my best interests, that really impacted me. And I think he took on the case knowing that he was very emotionally involved because he had a daughter exactly my age. And he told me, he's like, I will fight like you're my daughter. And that connection to me, the fact that now I can be a voice to those that don't know, some of them don't even know they have a voice, right? And the passion that I do it with, I really get connected to that one, like that 11-year-old girl, every time I take on a case that I have to fight for a right. And it just really changed my life.
So at that age, you decided you wanted to become a lawyer. How then did you start your kind of journey in the legal industry?
Okay, so I also have a unique story. So I graduated at the age of 16 from high school. And right away, I went to undergrad. So I did criminal justice, my undergrad, and I went straight to law school. So at the age of 24, I was already a lawyer. So started pretty early on. I did work in some law firms for a while during law school and my undergrad. So very quickly, I guess you could say, I started my legal career.
And then how did I&I Law come about, or what was once known as Barrios and Virgüez? How did that kind of come about?
Yeah, so I met my husband, Jorge, in law school, second year of law school. And, we both hustled. We were both going to law school and working in different law firms. So, we had a very good understanding about immigration and how it worked. Obviously, our families went through it, right? So we kind of really understood. So when we graduated law school, we, have those horrible 3 months that you don't know whether you pass the bar or not. So we worked, during this time, and we ended up both passing the bar. We're like, oh my gosh, we did it, And we went to a few interviews, to be honest with you, Chad, and it was just weird. They were like, hey, we want you to open the immigration branch of the firm. And we're like, okay, and they're like, but, you only get a cut of it. You only get like, I think 30% of it or 25% of what you're bringing in. And I had a hustle. And then Jorge and I were like, you know what? Why don't we do it for ourselves? Why don't we open our own law firm? It was, thank God it worked out, Chad, because we were dating when we opened the law firm. But quickly we got engaged. And like you said, it's been great. We've grown at almost 100% each year. And since then we've been open. So it's been a blessing.
Is there something business-wise that you would say has been maybe the key to your 100% growth each year?
It's a lot of factors, Chad. I mean, I think when businesses grow, you can't just say this was it. It was like a mix of things. I would say for Jorge and I, we really take this on as a passion, right? Like, especially, with my background and our background with both immigrants. So we really serve people with a passion. So our connection to people is very deep, and we end up getting referrals. But also, I do believe having people who have done it guide you along the way. It's a must, I think, if you want to grow faster, because they're teaching you what they've been through, right? And you kind of get there faster. And so I think having people around you that have done it, that are doing it, it's great.
We'll talk about that a little bit more coming up. But first, can you tell me a favorite story that you can think of during your time there?
Yeah, I mean, so there was early on in her careers, a lady came for a consultation, and she was freaking out because she had a no driver's license charge, and she was like, immigration's gonna come get me, and she was there for the consultation, and talking to her, we started noticing that she was limping, right? Like she was limp, and we were like, what happened? And she started saying, well, I was in a car accident, but I'm very afraid immigration is going to come get me, right? She had 2 little girls in the room with her. And I said, okay, hold on. We're here to help you. We're here to take care of you. So we figured out, hey, yes, we're going to go to court with you. Nothing's going to happen. You'll be fine. But then as we started talking, we realized that she had an injury case, like a PI case, and she didn't even know existed, because in our countries, that doesn't exist. You take care of your bills and that's it, right? And she was like, really? And I said, yeah, you have a case. And, she ended up having a fracture of a hip that she hadn't taken care of for 2 weeks. And we took care of her whole bills. And then at the end, she walked with almost a check with 6 figures, and it changed her life completely. This woman didn't even have to eat sometimes. So those moments are amazing when you were the one that guided somebody to have an amazing end result. Was just great.
Sure, absolutely. So how did you, I'd love to talk about more about the lessons learned in your practice journey. Can you tell me how you discovered 8-Figure Firm and Louis Scott?
So I know Louis Scott since before I think he became a lawyer. So I met him in law school. And, one day we had graduated, both of us. I mean, Jorge and I already had the firm. He said, hey, I would love to eat lunch with you guys. We're all lawyers, like, let's get together. So we just started having kind of like a friendship. Jorge and him clicked. They both played baseball in college. So, it was great. And, we got closer and closer. And once he decided to do 8-Figure Firm, we joined.
Are there some lessons that you've learned from Luis?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's just amazing at operations. And I think, you were asking me what makes a business grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of things, but one of them is how you really run the business operational, right? And as lawyers, sometimes we don't have that background. A lot of times we don't have that background, right? So I think his knowledge of the operational side of a law firm is just great.
So what kinds of things did he teach you? I know you said you guys had both graduated law school. You're kind of starting your careers as attorneys. You interviewed with firms, and then you're like, well, we don't need to start a new thing for their firm. We could just start our own firm. But then, so you're both skilled attorneys. You're ready to go as lawyers. What are some things that Luis kind of helped you with to allow you to run the business beyond just being good lawyers?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, it's the whole operational background, understanding that everything has, a way of going about it, like your numbers, like your marketing. I think he's such an aggressive person for growth, right? And he teaches you to be that way. Like, don't be afraid. Just market, invest, and you'll see the return. And I think as business owners and also lawyers, we are always trying to avoid risk. That's what we were taught in law school, right? So I think having someone and seeing someone that's done it, right? And I think that's why I respect them a lot, in the sense of, like, they've done it. It's easier to follow in a way. You're like, okay, if they're doing it, I can do it too. So it's good.
Sure. And you've used him ever since you guys opened?
No. So I believe A Figure Firm was established last year. So we just joined A Figure Firm last year. Yeah.
So is there anything that he's done for you that's kind of changed things prior to last year?
Yeah, like knowing your numbers like crazy, especially for the injury side. He just knows, like, how to run the whole game, in the sense. And then the marketing, the aggressive marketing point of view, for sure.
Since this is the Guts and Glory show, what is one gut story where you kind of had to overcome something, and a glory story that we should share?
Yeah. So like I previously said, I'm from Guatemala City. So I ended up working with the Guatemalan consulate as a legal representative. And one day I got a phone call notifying that a person had passed away, and we had to notify the family. So, it was a horrible moment when I had to call wife and to tell her, hey, your husband passed away. Right. But as I kept digging into the situation, I noticed that she had a claim against this company, right? And so I called her back a few weeks later, and I said, hey, I believe you have a case and you have something to go against this company. So she said, oh, very uneducated. She's like, whatever you say, I'll follow. I trust you. And to make story short, I mean, it took about a year, but the lady now is a millionaire in her country, and we changed her life and her child's life, because he had a 9-year-old. And that, to me, I mean, made so much worth, like, me taking this career on. The day that I called her and I said, we just changed your life. And she didn't even know she had a claim. So those are amazing stories for me.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it took about a year. Can you kind of take me through maybe some ups and downs that during the course of that year, where you maybe thought, like, oh, we're screwed, or oh, we've got this?
Yeah. So they first started completely denying the claim, saying, no, like, he didn't even work here. I mean, it was like a lot of obstacles that we had to fight. So they completely denied the claim. Then we had to fight and fight and fight. So they accepted the claim. And then later on, obviously, negotiated. They want to lowball a whole bunch because they know the lady's not even here, right? So, but no, we fought for the maximum, and we got the maximum. And the lady, I mean, that phone call was amazing. She started screaming and crying. She didn't even have, like, a place to live, right? She didn't even have a bed. And we changed her life. So that's amazing.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time today, Keren. It's been a real treat having you on. We've been talking with Keren Barrios, managing partner and attorney at I&I. Where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, you can go to immigrationinjurylaw.com, or look us up in Facebook or Instagram as I&I Law.
Okay, last question for you. What do you think are some action steps that people who are looking to kind of start their own firm should take right away?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, really find people around you, or coaching because you need it. You'll encounter things that we don't know sometimes how to deal with it, and the more you grow, the more you learn. So obviously, find people around you that can guide you, and good luck.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Keren. It's been a real pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you, Chad. Appreciate it.
So long, everybody.
You've been listening to the Guts and Glory Show with Louise Scott. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to share. For more information on this episode, please see the show notes at www.gutsandgloryshow.com. And join us next time as we talk to another leader in business that had the guts to overcome all odds for the glory of success.